We now have the actual, really super creepy book that a bunch of Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent to him for his 50th birthday back in 2003, 3 years before his sex crimes became public. And we now have an actual picture of the Trump entry in that book. I'm going to show it to you here. It's pretty gross. It's just as described by the Wall Street Journal. Now, of course, Trump is still insisting that that photo is a fake, that he never signed any letter, that the whole thing is a Democratic fraud. And here's his spokeswoman doing that.
Go ahead. About the Epstein case, would the White House support a professional handwriting expert review of the document released yesterday to prove that it's not the president's signature?
Sure, we would support that. And in fact, I have already seen many forensic analysts of signatures coming out. I believe it was the Daily Signal that published a piece with 3 separate signature analysts who said that this absolutely was not the president's authentic signature. And we have maintained that position all along. The president did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter. And that's why the president's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal, and they will continue to. Christian.
Yeah, of course, Trump is suing Rupert Murdoch and friends and Rupert Murdoch Company over their story breaking the news about this letter. Trump's even gotten some of his most ridiculous Republican lackeys to lie about the signature on the letter and say it isn't his. Here are some of them doing that. This is B3.
From what I see, it's not his signature. I've seen Donald Trump sign a million things.
This doesn't look like his signature to you?
Nope. Doesn't look like it. I've watched him sign nonstop.
Well, I don't know. I mean, anybody can do a signature. We've seen the auto pen's been used quite a bit with the Biden administration. So I've never known Trump to be much of an artist either. So I'd kind of draw that into question.
Do you think it's his? I highly doubt that it is. I don't think that if that is true and he did sign that letter, I don't know that there's anything.
I don't know that there was an auto pen back in 2003, buddy. And here's the other problem. The letter was like literally handed over to Congress by the Epstein estate. So if the signature isn't real, how did the estate get that letter? Who faked the signature? There's no auto pen back then. Was it the Epstein estate that supposedly faked the signature? How would they even do that? And why are Republicans pretending that they don't see what we can all see? Here's Republican Congressman Thomas Massie giving his theory.
Congress who might think about co-sponsoring this, they're getting calls from the political machine that Donald Trump runs. We've got members of Congress who have aspirations of running for statewide office, and they can't win a statewide office in a Republican primary with Donald Trump on the other side. So they're terrified of him. With 3 big exceptions, 3 women have co-sponsored this resolution: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace.
Why aren't they terrified of President Trump?
I think, number one, because they're women, they feel obligated to take up for the women who've been abused.
And joining me now is the Democratic congressman who teamed up with Representative Massie to get those files out there, Congressman Ro Khanna of California. Congressman, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. What do you think of Thomas Massie's theory as to why those 3 women, Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, are the only Republicans besides him who are willing to join with you and all of these other Democrats, really all the Democrats, in saying that the Epstein files should come out?
They see it as a human issue. Frankly, they've shown courage. I mean, Nancy Mace was in tears after she heard the testimonials of the survivors. She is a survivor herself. And if you view the video, she literally broke down. It was that harrowing. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, gave me a hug after we were at the same press conference. I mean, you can't hear these women talk about being raped and abused at 13, 14, have a heart and not be moved. And I think Lauren Boebert, again, has a human reaction. And it's just sad to me that the others are viewing this as politics. I mean, it was Trump that said, let's release the files. We've now had the survivors basically share their stories. There's not a single Republican, including the Speaker or Jim Comer, who thinks that these women aren't telling the truth. And so why aren't they speaking up when Donald Trump is saying it's a hoax? Why don't they just call for standing with these survivors?
Was Congressman Massie, the other thing he said, that there's a billionaire in the state of Kentucky, in his state, that is now funding primary runs against him. That essentially he's now up against a billionaire who is likely in that book or who is in the Epstein files. Is that the issue here? Is that this is an attempt by Republicans to protect a lot of very, very wealthy men who are actually connected potentially to this scandal?
Yes, there are rich and powerful men who have not had consequence, who have impunity, and some of them now may be funding the opposition to Thomas Massie. But the broader issue is what force is so powerful that they're preventing Donald Trump from releasing these files? Why is it that rich and powerful men who basically said that they could abuse underage girls if they knew the right politician aren't being held accountable? That's what the whole country is asking. And, when Thomas Massie and I took this, we knew we were going to get attacked. He's, of course, knew he would possibly face a primary. The White House press secretary is attacking me. The Trump White House is attacking me. Powerful donors don't like it. Some people in our own party said, oh, Ro, be careful. You don't want to get too far out there. But the American people have had it with this kind of impunity.
Let's talk about some of the content. Well, you want to tell me who some of these Democrats are that told you to back off?
They're all on board now. So
Oh,
I am. Let's move forward and let's make sure that we don't lose a single Democratic vote.
okay. Let's talk about some of the contents of this book. There's obviously the Trump signed, woman sort of outline of a woman with a pretty weird cryptic poem in it. But I want to show you. This is B5, Jason. This is to me one of the creepiest, if not the creepiest thing in this book. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see the screen, but there is a photo. There was an image or a drawing, and it says 1983, and it shows what I guess is Jeffrey Epstein handing balloons to a group of children, and then it says 2003, three barely dressed women giving what appears to be Epstein a massage on a massage table, and one of them is clearly rubbing his genitals. It's hard for me to believe that the people who wrote these very strange missives to him on his 50th birthday did not know what his predilections are. You can just go through them. Let's show B6, the other one. They all look to me like people knew that he was a sexual predator. That's the Lolita Express that's shown in there. Let's look at B7. These appear to be people who knew exactly who and what Jeffrey Epstein was, and they thought it was funny. Do you believe that everyone who signed that book, or at least most of them, knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing?
Sure, that is such an important point that you're making. Yes, most of them, I believe, knew. And there are two cover ups here. There's the cover up of powerful and rich people who turned a blind eye and kind of chuckled, knowing what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and why they didn't speak up. That needs accountability. And then there's the question of people who participated in this, because we know from the survivors that they were farmed out to other rich and powerful people. But I think the reason this has struck such a nerve is it's a mirror of what our society is like and was like, and that there was a culture that rich and powerful men had of impunity, that they could kind of treat young women as their playthings, as discardable objects, and they would basically suffer no consequence because they knew the right people. And this is being exposed, and it's horrifying to the American people. It says what's happened to our culture, what's happened to our sense of values, and that's why this is not going away. It is really a mirror to our society, and people are saying no. Rich and powerful men need to be held accountable.
A couple of things on that. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said to camera that Donald Trump was an FBI informant who turned Jeffrey Epstein in. He then tried to walk that back. You are on the inside of trying to investigate this as a member of Congress. Do you have any evidence that Donald Trump was an FBI informant and that he's the one who turned Epstein into the FBI?
I do not, but the way to resolve this once and for all is to release the files. That's what we're asking. We want the witness interviews to be released. We want the memorandum to be released. And if there was a file saying that an interview took place with Donald Trump and here's what Donald Trump said, then put that out there. That's what really Massey and I find so hard to understand, which is what is being hidden here. Obviously, Donald Trump knew when he was campaigning that he was fine with the files being released. Vance was fine with the files being released. Something changed where Pam Bondi says, let's just sweep this under the rug. What is this force? Who are they trying to protect? Are there foreign governments involved? Are there foreign leaders involved? Are they just rich billionaire donors involved? And if there's nothing to it, if Trump's saying, "Oh, it's just a hoax," which is demeaning to the women survivors. But if there's nothing to it, then why doesn't he just release it and get it over with, and show people that there's nothing there?
And can you confirm that that Congress, that your committees received that birthday book from the Epstein estate?
We have, and people say a forensic analysis to make sure it's Trump's signature. Well, that's for Jim Comer was the chair of the committee to do. I know Robert Garcia, if you were the chair of the committee, would order that kind of investigation. But Comer said, "Oh, we don't need to do it. I don't want to waste my time with something 20 years back." Well, you can't say we want an investigation, and then your own Republican chair is saying don't do an investigation. But the point is, this is not anti-Trump. The point is, if they're not telling the truth about that, then how can we trust them to tell the truth about anything else in the files?
Yeah, they seem quite interested in going into the past when it came to Hunter Biden. Let's talk about some of these potential guilty people that are being protected. Let's talk about the foreign governments. Israel's former Prime Minister Ehud Barak is implicated by some of these victims. It appears that Jeffrey Epstein at least knew Benjamin Netanyahu. He seemed to have a lot of friends who were big boosters of the Israeli state. Is one of the foreign governments that you want to see investigated for whether they are maybe leveraging what their intelligence services may know about some of the people who were involved with Epstein? Is Israel one of the countries you think might be leveraging that information or protecting people who are citizens of that country? And I ask you that knowing that a pedophile was released by the Trump administration to allow to go back to Israel.
Look, I don't want to speculate on which countries. I'll just tell you what I know in terms of the facts, and that is that Bradley Edwards has said that we need to get the files from the CIA. Bradley Edwards is the victim's attorney. Bradley Edwards has seen these files. Now, why would you want files from the CIA and from other agencies involved with foreign governments? It's because there is some foreign government angle to this. There is concern, from what I've been told, of at the very least money laundering, that there was an operation to launder money with Epstein. There is concern about the financial transactions. There's concern about what the motive was. So I think for someone like me who is in a position to try to get the files, it would be irresponsible to prejudge anything other than to say there are very deep and disturbing questions. And that's why the transparency here is so important. And that's why the American people want answers.
Are you concerned that foreign governments may be using what they might know about who was involved with Jeffrey Epstein, either in the sexual predilections, the sexual crimes, or in financial crimes? Are you concerned that foreign governments could be leveraging that against Donald Trump or other people or other U.S. citizens?
I'm concerned what's out there and what other countries know, if they do know things, and whether they are using that. I mean, this is why the only answer here, Joy, and keep coming back to this, is transparency. Let's get this out to the American public. Let them make the determination. And people say, well, reputations are going to be ruined. I think the American people are perfectly capable of making a distinction between someone who met Jeffrey Epstein because they got money from them for some scholarship or cancer research, or someone who happened to be at a party but didn't engage in illegal conduct, and those who either engaged in illegal conduct or a cover-up. The American people have fairness and a common sense. What they don't accept is that we just sweep this whole thing under the rug like we have for the past decades, that the victims get no justice, and that we just pretend that if you're rich and powerful, you get to do whatever you want in America.
Do you have any evidence that or do you have anything, I should say, that can help us understand how Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and others who were very vocal about releasing the Epstein files during the campaign seem to have changed their minds? Kash Patel said that the FBI director is the person who could release the files. He is now the FBI director. Dan Bongino was very clear as a podcaster that these files should be released, and now they've all gone offside.
No, we don't. And that's what we find perplexing. What is the motive? Why are these files not being released? We know the files exist because we know that from the victims' lawyers. They've seen the files. When people say, how will you know if they release the files that they don't scrub them? Well, we'll talk to the victim's lawyer. There are people in this country who have seen these files, and there are a lot of career officials who've seen these files. So why aren't we releasing them? And they have not given a good answer. They just say, well, there's nothing to see. It's all a hoax. Well, then if there's nothing to see, release all the files, release the witness interviews, release the financial transactions. Let the American public decide it. And I still have not gotten a good answer from them about why they don't do this if there's no there. And that's really what has angered people and people are asking, what is this force that's more powerful than our government in preventing the disclosure?
Two more quick questions. One question being, there was a pretty blockbuster New York Times in-depth piece about the ways in which Jeffrey Epstein was deeply involved in our financial system and in the collapse of our financial system in 2008. JP Morgan was named. He was apparently getting high profile, high net worth clients for them so that they and Bear Stearns and other companies continued doing business with him even after they knew what he was. Would you like to see the leadership of those big banks brought in and forced to also testify?
Yes, that we need to follow the money. And there was a lot of financial transactions that took place that raised a lot of red flags. One, were they protecting Epstein? And did they know that he was engaged in this kind of sex trafficking scheme? And were they just indifferent to it and said, okay, we're going to turn a blind eye? Well, we need to know that, and there needs to be accountability. And two, where was this money for Epstein coming from? Was it illegal money? What was the motive? We need both the files released and testimony.
Do you believe that, just from your own analysis of it and what you've been able to see on the inside, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide, or do you believe that he was murdered, as his brother believes?
I have no idea in terms of making a conclusion on that. And one of the things I've done is just stick to the facts, not engage in anything that could be seen as speculation,
Sure.
and been made it clear this is not even against Donald Trump or his administration. This is about the survivors. This is about our children. This is about taking on a culture that has obviously degraded women. And I'm hopeful. We have 217 signatures today, Joy.
Mhm.
We need one more. We're going to
One more.
get that on September 23rd by
Okay.
a new Democrat House. But I'm hoping between now and September 23rd, if there's maybe the survivors can teach us as a country how we come together. That's what they're asking. That is there no principle so sacred that a country can come together? How about standing up for young girls not being abused? And I hope that there's a single more Republican who finds some courage to say, yeah, I'm going to stand with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Thomas Massie, and Nancy Mace, and I'm going to stand on principle in this issue. Let's see.
How sad. I'm going to let you go, but one very quick question. Do you expect Ghislaine Maxwell to be pardoned?
I did, and now I'm hoping that not, because I think the survivors were so powerful that how that would make them just relive the trauma and be a total slap in their face. I do think
Yeah.
they broke through there, and my hope is that stops the pardon in its tracks. It's still a possibility, but I think that press conference moved the needle on that.
Well, thank you very much, Congressman Ro Khanna. I appreciate all the work that you've done. I'm sure the survivors appreciate you. Survivors nationwide, I think, appreciate you and Summer Lee and Thomas Massie, I have to say. And what a strange world when the voices of reason and clarity and moral clarity on the right are Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace. But this is where we are. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Joy. Thank you for your moral clarity, and thank you for your moral clarity on Gaza as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Take
Same
care.
to you. Thank y'all for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this channel. Make sure that everybody subscribes to the YouTube channel. 70% of people are lurking, watching these shows and not subscribing. Why would you do that? So make sure that you like, subscribe, and throw some comments in. Thank you all for joining the Joy Reid Show. See you on the next one, and goodbye for now.